The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 360. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal woman on the show today. She is a designer and a streetwear model, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Maza. Maza, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, nice to finally speak to you. Yes, my name is Maza. I am a graphic designer, UX, UI designer, and I'm a streetwear model. Personally, I've somewhat become a social media influencer, and I have a passion for blogging and filming.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what's your cultural background?
I am actually Filipino and Italian, and I'm based in Sydney, Australia as well.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. And Maza, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Well, I stumbled upon this quote somewhere on the internet, and I've somewhat learnt it off by heart. So if any listeners know the owner of this quote, please let me know. But it goes something like, in a world that profits from your self-doubt, liking yourself is a rebellious act. And honestly, the reason why I love this quote is that I believe we're all born rebels, but as time passes, I feel like that rebel inside of us either grows or just completely disappears. And whether we like it or not, we're in a capitalist society that takes advantage of that shrinking rebel by selling us this idea that we're not enough, not pretty enough, not thin enough, or smart enough. And for those that are strong enough to decline that idea are truly the rebels of today. And it's a nice quote that's like a nice reminder to continue being that badass rebel.
I love that quote, and it's so true, right? Like, especially with social media sometimes, right? It's like, if you don't look a certain way, then you're not worthy, which is so...
Exactly, yes.
You know, it just promotes, it promotes such a bad message. You know, we look at a cover of a magazine of a beautiful woman, but nobody realized how much she's altered to a T, like, you can't even recognize her, right?
Exactly. And I feel like I've gone through that exactly on social media.
Yeah, and I think authenticity is just really something that's missing in this world, right? Just going out there and being the real you. If you have, you know, a little bit of flab, you know, a little bit, you know, muffin top, that's okay, you know, have a pimple on your face.
And you appreciate it more too. So when you kind of see that real person on social media, I just kind of appreciate it a little bit more.
No, it's true. A lot of people tend to, appreciate it because they can, you know, they can relate to it, which is really great. So I really love that quote that you mentioned. It's actually the first time I've heard it. So thanks again. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
Well, simply put, I feel like self-confidence is just a lack of agitation, a lack of discontent and irritation in your being. So if you really think about it, confidence is just like a tiny perspective, like a perspective that just alters your thinking and your mood. So once you like fully master that perspective, I feel like you start to kind of find peace within yourself, and it kind of becomes a sort of shield from everything that just makes you feel like shit, to be honest.
Awesome. Well, I like that definition that you mentioned. And, you know, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I feel like the most accurate words that describe me would be reserved, self-conscious, and just very paranoid. I feel like the biggest contributor to my lack of self-confidence would have been my acne and all the scars on my face, my arms and my chest and my back. So I feel like I could be exaggerating, but like I honestly felt the weight of people's eyes as they looked at me, and I couldn't bear holding eye contact for like more than 3 seconds, but it really, really affected me. I remember like catching a bus once, and there was this kid with his mum, and then the kid was just looking at me weird, and then all of a sudden he just turns to his mum and then he asks her if I was sick. And at that point, that just really fucked with me, like really fucked with me. And from an age of 16 to 21, I think I was never ever seen without makeup. So even my boyfriend of 5 years, think it was the first 3 years of our relationship, he just never saw me without makeup. So yeah, my life before confidence was not a healthy lifestyle at all.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we can all, relate to, right? If we have like a scar on our face or on our legs,
Hmm.
we are so paranoid about it, right? We feel
Uh-huh.
like we're not perfect, right? We don't look like
Exactly.
everybody else and people are going to look at us funny. And, it's just really, sometimes our overthinking too kind of gets to us, right? When one person just says something, it's like the end of the world. And what was that point in your life when you realized like you were more than enough? You were beautiful just the way you are. What was like that aha moment?
I feel like I feel like I've had two of those moments where I thought I had that aha moment. The first one would have been when I was 16. Like, I just woke up one day and I was just like, I looked in the mirror and I was just like, fuck this. Like, I'm sick of feeling so ugly. And I just asked my parents to get me braces, and then I would go ahead and chemically straighten my hair, and I would go out and buy clothes and cover my acne with makeup. And for a period of time, I feel like I fooled everyone, like even myself. And I honestly started to believe I was beautiful. Like, I honestly thought I had achieved confidence with all these things that I just added to myself. But and then, like, as life went on, I feel like I had another moment, and this was recently actually, where I was having a photo shoot with a very well-known Sydney photographer by the name of Justin Fox. And we were shooting one day and we were just talking about life and our past, and we ended up having something in common: acne. And we ended up using the same medication to try and fight it. And, I'd open up a little bit more and I told him how I would cover my acne with makeup. And then he just looked at me and then he asked me, "Are you going to be wearing makeup when you're old and wrinkly?" And we kind of just had this awkward moment. And then he went on to say, there's an age when it starts looking pretty gross. And then I kind of went home that day and I just cleared out my makeup drawer, and just because of that one comment, it shed a light on a totally new perspective. Like, I had imagined myself as an old woman, like still applying makeup to my skin, and I just did not want to be that 30 or 40-year-old woman who was still not confident in my own skin. And I knew at some point I had to stop wearing it, so I started to learn how to let go at that point, just because of that one comment.
Thanks for sharing that. And that it is a big like realization, right? Because there, like I mentioned, we live in a world where it's like we have to cover up all our scars and our flaws, and yeah,
Hmm.
people don't realize like the chemicals in makeup too, right? Like it can like deteriorate your face. Like if you've ever
Hmm.
seen articles of like superstars without makeup, I mean, some of them, I'm just like, shocked at like their faces because it's like it's wrinkly and
Yeah.
old and stuff. And sometimes we just have to realize like we are more than enough. We're worthy. I've seen so many models now out there who just show their flaws, right? Whatever skin, I guess a skin. It's just like a flaw that they have, like a skin disease or something, but they show it because they know
Hmm.
that they're beautiful no matter what. And like you mentioned, people gravitate to that because they love their authenticity and the courage to just show who their true selves are. And because of your realization, right, just learning that you're beautiful just the way you are, right, without makeup. And what's your life been like now?
I feel like now my life is a bit like, I feel like I'm more in touch with my feelings and my values. It's honestly to a point where I have absolutely no need to impress anybody. Like, that weight of paranoia and that self-consciousness is completely off my shoulders, and I honestly feel free and liberated. And I feel like that fucking rebel, that badass woman that is just not afraid to be in my own skin. And like you said, that celebrities, like, and celebrities would flaunt their, bare skin. I remember when I had acne, I would just like, I would like kind of flick through albums of like celebrities without makeup, and to get that kind of hope, to kind of like, I don't know, it made me feel better, just celebrities without makeup. And yeah, I feel like with social media as well, I also gravitated away from Snapchat, especially because you know how there's all those filters and stuff now that could make your skin look so flawless. I kind of had enough of it, and I just want to show all my followers that it's like okay to be, barefaced. I feel, liberated.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. It's great that you're using social media to promote a positive message, especially, being real, being you, being authentic. Like, I think that's such an important message, especially, growing up as an Asian woman. We're always told to hide our flaws and our mistakes and just hide everything, right? Not realizing like that's gonna screw us over one day.
Yeah, I wish someone told me that earlier.
Yeah, me too. But this is why we're here. We can have other women realize like they don't have to hide everything. So thanks for sharing that. And if our listeners were in a similar journey as yours, as they're listening to this episode, what would be that one tip you would give to them?
I feel like women need to understand that confidence is your own responsibility, and there's no shortcut, there's no cheats, there's no tricks. It's purely earned, and no one's going to hand it to you but yourself. I feel like what people forget is that you need to invest time in understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. I feel like it's not an option at all. Like, for example, after some time, I realized that one of my strengths were that I could express my feelings on paper and through designs and film. But funnily enough, one of my weaknesses is that I can't express my feelings verbally in person. So how I overcome or still overcoming that weakness is I put myself in that environment where I kind of have to verbally express myself. Example, this interview. So there's a point where you kind of have to say, fuck it, and just face your weakness. And unless you want to kind of stay in that uncomfortable and unconfident state of mind, you kind of need to have those fuck it moments. You know what I mean? And some people are always, or some women are always looking for that quick fix too. They're always trying to find confidence that are in things like makeup or shoes or bags. And you need to understand that confidence isn't anything external. It's way more abstract than that. So my overall advice would be take responsibility for your self-confidence, invest time in understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and execute, take action, and stop hiding behind your weaknesses and just have that moment of fuck it and repeat. Simple as that.
I love it. Those are some great tips. And, sometimes actually our weaknesses and our flaws and our mistakes can actually, help us, when we just learn to, let go and know like we do make it, we can learn from it and move on. So, love the tips that you mentioned. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, I'm very active on Instagram, so you can follow me on that. My username is Maza, Mazaa. And my website, I have a website called hellomaza.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Maza, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Maza's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Maza for taking the time to share her story with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Not a problem. It was an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Want to learn how you can use podcasting to market your business? Download your free report by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.